So how was everyone's dinner?
It was good.
Good.
Delicious.
Big celebratory dinner today.
Yes.
Episode 100 we're shooting right now, and really the first time that we've been able to treat ourselves, right? Like to actually like go out and like have something to celebrate. Not that like we haven't been putting in a ton of work over the past 3 years, but like to sit down that like this business is progressing and also it not be like out of pocket, like our personal pocket sort of thing, right? Like it was really nice to take that step forward, and like it felt like a real treat, like to me for sure, right?
Yeah, 100%. Even too, it's kind of crazy to think that like all those years we put in, and like now it's like it was very different to be able to sit there and like not have to kind of worry about it, right? Like that the business is just like flowing, and I don't know, it's like the confidence even to just having that dinner and like the synergy between all of us, just having oysters, laughing, smiling, like a very cherishable moment, I would say.
Nerds.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I felt like it was nice to just be out all together. And like you said, like everybody said, just to be able to kind of be carefree and enjoy food and just each other's company. And that's kind of a special thing, like to be able to just kind of spend like without thought a little bit, you know what I mean? And just be like, wow, we really deserve this. And after so long, like all of our work has kind of come into fruition and there's so much growth still to happen, but we've come so far from the beginning. So that's it's really cool to see.
Do you guys like ever remember like a aha moment, like we're doing something right, or is that something that just creeps up in between the whole journey?
I would say honestly, some episodes would be the aha moments, right? Like to be honest, like I remember when we did the Chris Sky episode. I think it was the first one when like Steven had pulled up with the lights or whatever. But just like being in that room and we're like, oh, we're literally interviewing somebody who's running for mayor. And like as like radical of a person he is and whatever, it was like when people found out that we were interviewing him, they're like, oh, and like that was like kind of like the feeling of like someone else giving you a pat on the back, like other than to yourself, but like okay, like oh, they're serious kind of idea.
Yeah.
Well, that, and he was like also like he positioned it that like he was leveraging our platform too, right? Like it wasn't just like he was trying to do everything possible to just get as much media out as possible and attention, but he also like saw value, right? And like that was so definitely, but I would say for me it came even before then. It wasn't so much like Neiman Naz was a big one, like a really big one, but just because how similar in age and maybe like how kind of like how much he seemed like one of the boys almost in a sense, like it like that wasn't like the aha for me. I think it was like that first Toronto trip we did where we sat down with Sammy, with Julius, who else was there? There was the director Mike, or was his name?
Yeah, Mike? It was Mike. Yeah.
Mike, and then there was one other one in there, but the like that was where, because like Mike was in the midst of producing a show and like working towards like moving to LA. Sammy was in the midst of like shooting for all these big screen productions and everything. Julius with like all of his success in music. That's where I was like, wow, like who are we getting in the rooms with, sort of thing, right? And like that's transitioned now to, it's like a lot through the real estate networks that you guys are part of, but like same thing, like we sit down with Alfonso, we've sat down with Mr. Pitton, right? Like these big players in the market where it's like how people pay for these people's times, right? And that's one thing I think like I really like am proud of is like we don't buy any of our guests. We don't pay for time. Like we may pay for travel and trip and expenses and stuff like that, but like we're seen as a value platform, and that's where like the aha moment came, was just like, wow, like we're able to put ourselves in these rooms and like it's not just the guest providing value, like we're obviously providing value as well too.
Do you kind of want to tell the audience, I guess, like what role each of us play in this like team? Because I feel like we haven't ever like kind of like talked about it, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's valuable because a lot of people want to like create something that we're doing, like a podcast or some sort of like online like company or influencer sort of like image, but they don't know like what is started, what are the actual like roles and responsibilities of each like person. I don't know. Do you guys like? Do you think that's a good idea or?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like I think it's like for me I think it's kind of it's hard to almost like put like exact words to it, right? Because like I feel like we do so much also too, right? Like if you want to just kind of put it like blatantly, it's like like for myself, like I'm a host, but also too there's just a lot of back end stuff you do that you don't really kind of
So
realize.
explain it. That's what I'm saying.
So like for myself, it's just like I'm a host, right? And also too is like I do a lot of like good networking. I try to build rapport with our guests. I try to essentially like for myself, I look at myself as a social one of us, right? Where I'm constantly building our relationship, keeping tabs with people. And beyond that, like as now we've started doing like production services. Now I'm like working on the back end of like building storyboards for people, trying to help with content. Like now I'm no longer just like I guess for myself. And when I say that is like just being a host, being on screen and like just being able to talk and build conversations with people. Now I'm actually trying to help others build their own content and give them ideas. So like in a way it's really developed me in a way because I've never thought myself as a creative, straight up. Like I don't really like being on camera other than for this. But now I'm like I have to put myself and like leverage my ideas to help others build their content so that they can build themselves, right? So that's kind of like, and even too, I think there's more that I do, but I couldn't really pinpoint more than that at the moment.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, like for his role or for
for
my
you,
role? Because I could say a lot about that. I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, I've been the producer, right? So like when it comes to setting up the cameras, the lights, the microphones, making sure audio quality is there, video quality is there, all the edits that come afterwards, final product that gets posted on these social medias, that's all the responsibility of me. And the good and the bad comes with it, right? Because there has been times where like cameras have been fucked up, right? And there's no one else to blame. And it's not like I'm looking to shift blame off to anyone else, but it kind of really sucks, right? Like when we are like, oh boys, like we lost the footage, we need to do an audio only, which we did I think 2 episodes like that, right? And like had to like kind of just come up with stuff on the fly for like the clips that week and like making it look still visually appealing. The tennis club ones, right? Where it had the audio bars at the bottom and stuff like that. But that's the good and the bad. And I've been able to learn lots. The nice thing is it keeps me connected with technology. I've always had a love for technology. Spent almost a decade in technology sales through Best Buy and Bell and different technology based companies and always being in the know. So it keeps me connected with all that, which is nice. But yeah, it's fun. I feel like I've developed a tangible skill as well too. One that like even Paul mentioned on one of our last episodes there. He's like, you can go to school for this type of stuff, but they're teaching you to go work for a big production company, which doesn't exist here in London, right? So like even if I were to have gone down this path before, right, would I have had to move to Toronto? Would I have had to move to somewhere in the States? Would I even still be working in the field if I never like had the drive to build something myself, sort of thing, right? So that's I think the best part of it all is just being able to constantly learn on the fly, always grow knowledge, and then just like play with gadgets.
Like 100%.
That's super sick when you put it.
What about you, Claude?
For myself, obviously I have more of like a super back end role, but I deal a lot with like the social media, that kind of stuff, uploading the posts, the captions, that kind of stuff. And I feel like as we're moving into the production services, I feel like more of like there's going to be more of an administrative role in communications and just communicating with different clients. And I feel like that's something I truly kind of excel in. Like it's something that I've done like with just a variety of different things. And I feel like I do really have that good customer service and patience. So I'm kind of excited for these like production services to continue to expand because I feel like my role will become larger in the group just because like I'm not the one on screen. I don't do production. So sometimes it kind of feels like where is my role? But like I've been here from the beginning, you know, I've been here to support as well. But I feel like as we grow, we kind of grow into new roles as well.
Being the only like female of Uncapped, like we're all about like equality, obviously. I'm joking. 3 guys, one girl. My point is like what gave you like the belief in like 3 baboons like us, like you know what I mean? Like you're the only female part of it. You're the only female like part of this group. Like I guess share that experience like working.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always difficult, not always difficult, but like when you're in a minority situation, you're going to have to deal with those differences, obviously. But I have to understand, and what I've learned to understand is that like my perspective like is not the audience necessarily we're catering to, right? So I'm kind of like understanding that it is a more male dominant audience. There's like a lot of different things that like I would do differently, but it's also I'm not the face of this. I'm not, people aren't coming here to watch me. So if you guys kind of have a vision or something, that I just kind of let it slide. And I feel like as we grow, there's like more opportunity for different things. Like, you know, like for instance, these couches. I wouldn't choose them, but they work, right? So, but it's kind of
Talking
like,
shit, class.
but what I'm saying is that the audience, like in my perspective, I think the couches are huge, like major important, but the audience doesn't care about the couches. They care about like the quality of the production. They care about the conversation. So it's like that kind of stuff of knowing like where my role is in this, and just kind of like accepting that role and still contributing, but where it's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask just before we get to Ricardo there, because like obviously you have to navigate through a lot of like pretty big personalities in here. Like, well, I think everyone in the room has a big personality, big goals, ambitions. But like like it's pretty obvious like when some of us are in a dispute or going back and forth. So like how do you balance that, and like what was your expectation coming into it, sort of thing, like when providing your input and feedback around those things?
I think like if I'm going to be completely honest, like I'm like at the beginning I was kind of here to support Ricardo, you know, because he's like a little like flustered and all these things, and I feel like sometimes like he needs like that organization to him. So I felt like I was able to provide that. And I feel like we do a lot of like of our bigger ventures together. So I was okay initially coming in just like as that support option, like support figure for him, obviously taking my own role, but being there for him. But as I grow, I see myself like, yeah, like there's a lot of different personalities, a lot of things, but I think that's kind of the beauty of it all, and like being able to navigate through it all. And I think that I just try to be patient. Like that's the main thing you could do, patient, and like listen to everybody's perspective and kind of weigh like is how important is their perspective in this topic, right? And if we're talking about cameras, I have no contribution because I don't know anything about cameras. So who am I to battle David's like thought on what we need, right? So it's kind of like you just have to know your place in a sense, and I think that's like important as well. So it's a lot of personalities, but just being there to kind of offer that voice of reason when necessary.
Did you ever feel like quitting on us, or like not on us, but like on like the adventure?
I think that I don't want to say, I want to say no. I think I've always been like very like, you know, passionate about it as well. But obviously like there's a point, like I was thinking about this earlier, where there's this book called Atomic Habits, right? And they talk about how like, you know, it's repetitive. But in order to form any good habit, they call it the valley of despair, which is basically like it feels like everything's gone to shit, nothing's going right, and you just have this very kind of negative feeling towards things because you feel like there's no progression, right? So with any habit, you're kind of going to have that. So I would be lying if I said I didn't experience that valley as well, right? I'm sure everybody in here had that valley. But I was always passionate about it, and I was always like excited to see it grow. And like I feel like in general, if there's one thing that like YouTube can really take from this, it's kind of like a storybook of like, think of 100 episodes like where it started and 100 episodes from now. And it's pretty rare to have like a documentary of like a weekly progression of yourself, like in terms of everything, right? So I think it was pretty cool to be able to be a part of that and to see how far everything's come.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy when you put it like that.
Right?
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually the craziest part for you to say that. Like, yeah, literally there's a weekly documentary on like how either we've gone up or down or both.
Yeah, there's 100 episodes out there of us like, and when you see episode 1, we probably like feel like we're young.
Oh, even the other day I was pulling old footage and the episode with E-Man in Blessed Hands Shop, and like just seeing like the how you guys looked like
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit,
Like babies?
like what the hell, like you had a buzz cut, right?
Wild,
And, like
bro.
yeah, like it's just completely different people have progressed, but yeah, like your role, Rico.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, my role like similar to like you guys, I guess, in the sense of like okay, obviously like the host of the podcast, kind of someone who's like like visionary in the sense of like trying to push ideas forward that all of us have together. Like we're first a podcast and then we became a production service. That was like something that we all like had to build together from the root. So like just trying to like just find different ways that we can like grow as a unit, you know what I mean? So like my role, I guess, would be host, and also just like host, visionary, and just someone who's trying to just like continue to make this a reality. And I feel like this is like the first ounce of reality we felt like you said, like we haven't never spoiled ourselves from the podcast like since today. We went out for dinner today as a team.
I know it's crazy.
None of us put $1. We used to have to like pay ourselves to do all these things. You know what I mean? Like now, like like we didn't pay for nothing. That doesn't mean that we want to or we're doing anything amazing right now. But it's a step in the right direction. You know what I mean? And like to think that something like nothing became something after 3 years is just incredible. You know what I mean? Like, he's very happy about all of us. And like, I think the most shocking thing is the fact that we all stuck together as a team. Like that, like, honestly, that's the most shocking thing. 3 years, we're all adults here. We're all grown. You know what I mean? And we just like somehow trusted one another to build this shit. That's what's rare to me.
It's like she said earlier, this was the first, like we meet every week, right? So like that Monday, like our Monday meeting, we're always seeing each other. Today was the first time we all met together, but we weren't there to do a meeting or like try to schedule something. This is the first time we actually got to sit down, have laughs, have a couple drinks, have some really good food together. And like business, it wasn't a topic that we spoke about today. Not in like the aspect of like trying to conduct something. It was just, finally got to be in the back burner for once.
Yeah.
Where it was like, okay, let's like prioritize like how we're feeling together, like our actual bond. Like you saw, like it was awesome to be able to order food and like we just share, like, you know what I mean? So we built such a tight knit friendship, a group, like a community, to be honest with you. We are our own little community, right? And it was really cool to just like, I don't know, I didn't think about like the business once today. Like, and when I say that, it's like I was just happy to be around you guys and like share the moments we had.
And like to kind of build off that, it's like, like when a business also becomes a friendship, that's kind of when it's like that creates that like stronger bond between everybody and that resilience as well, right? Because like if there wasn't that friendship, like who's to say like this wouldn't have stopped at episode 50, right? Because it's that like friendship and resilience that kind of pushes you when times like when you're not as into it, in a sense, like you're doing it not just for yourself but for everybody else.
100%. And like it's only 100 episodes.
So far.
That's it though. Like, you know what I mean?
So far,
It's a big Sully. It's a big milestone. Don't get me wrong. Like we're proud of it, but like it's still only 100 episodes.
Do you guys remember when we were doing episodes every 2 weeks?
Like, how long was that?
I think we were
at least 2 years.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, really?
2 years.
I think we're in like the 30s ish, right?
Wow.
We were around like 33 or 34. I think is where it changed.
The Toronto trip, I think, is when we decided.
We kind of came back right around that time.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that like we went from every 2 weeks, and like I think the fact that we swapped 2 every week really changed everything, to be honest with you, because like we'd have those 2-week breaks or whatever. And I did feel there was downtime. Like, honestly, like we'd have 1 week where we're like heavy pressure, we're getting the episode out. And that other week was kind of dead, if you think about it. Like we were just like, obviously we'd do our meetings, but it was such a big buffer between like week to week where we're like, oh, like we really didn't, like, I would say we didn't do stuff sometimes during those weeks. And then like, it really kind of set us back, I would say, in a way. Yeah. Because like energy was kind of dying out, and then we'd have to pick it back up. And then
right now though, we are the biggest podcast in London, right?
Number 1, bro.
Yeah.
We're the biggest podcast in London.
Number 1.
Right? Like,
yeah. I would agree.
That's crazy, bro.
I would agree. I don't know anyone. Well, we know Rory, but like Rory's in a whole different like genre, and like when it comes to it, like I would agree. Like I don't really see anything else coming out from here.
That's wild, bro.
Even like Toronto podcasts, like let's not name any names of some Bati men, but but like it's interesting because like you would feel like Toronto's like that media hub. Like I feel like we should be seeing more from Toronto, or like is it that whole like scared to post thing, or because like that's one thing I've found, maybe, and this is maybe a big difference maker between like certain areas in the US versus like Canada or even just other states in the US. But like it's very judgmental out there, like very judgmental, and that's a huge thing to overcome. Like, even I remember like my first time speaking on the podcast, right? And like
Mhm.
I didn't think I was ever going to speak on the podcast at that point in time back then, right?
Mhm.
I just like, and that's my own battle with like media all the time, like when it comes to like posting gym content or just like developing like anything outside of um what we're working on now or any of the other businesses that I'm working on, right? But is that the limiting factor? Like, why are we not seeing more from Toronto? Because like Plush, for example, like, is that the standard, right? Is like
Yeah.
you're gonna become a viral sensation, right? Like, regardless of like if she sounds goofy or not, like she's an amazing person, but like there's so much negativity that comes with it, and like and a lot of that is probably like from Toronto, like just like shitting on the slang, or
Yeah.
like we don't talk like that, or this chick doesn't represent Toronto. Like, so is like that what stops other people from like continuing to grow and try to put stuff out there, sort
Yeah.
of thing. Like,
I don't know. I feel like it's like a two, like, how do I say it? Like, it's like two humps first. You know what I mean? Like we found like the first, like, okay, the YouTube stars, like way back in the day. If you started YouTube back in like 2008, 2010, you're a star if you posted every single day. Like right now, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I feel like it's like that's one hump, and I feel like there's another hump. I feel like we're still early in like this social media, putting yourself out there game. Because how the hell are we the number one podcast in London, Ontario? Think about that. We just started 3 years ago as like friends and as like people who knew each other, and we're the number one podcast in a city that has like almost 500,000 people.
Mhm.
Like what's the barrier to entry there? It's just fucking balls. Like
Mhm.
back like a couple years ago, you just needed the balls to just do it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah.
Even
Right?
to remember, like that famous sign everyone says, you have to leave your city because everyone in your city isn't necessarily going to support you because they know
She did
you,
that.
right? Oh yeah, she left. Oh yeah, cut the mark out, right? And like
she left the city.
yeah, and it's like the idea where like people don't support you because they know you, and it's sad that like sometimes you have to leave the city and like meet new people for those people to actually support you instead of like being able to be in your own home and like people support you that way.
I think I want to like correct you on that, because I think it's not that they know you, but they think they know you.
Facts.
Right. And so like they set these limiting beliefs and barriers, right? Like, how many people have we met where they're like, wow, what you guys are doing is great, is awesome, like you have this platform and you're able to like expand, and like as we've met more like-minded individuals that like we're working with or that we've partnered with or have been on the show, it's just like they think what we're doing is awesome, right? And like if we had no ties with them before, but these individuals that think they know us, like the first thing, like how many of your boys clowned you the first time
Yeah.
that they heard you say, oh, we're putting out a podcast?
Yeah.
How many of them like made fun of you, being like, oh, this isn't going anywhere? Oh, how's your little podcast
That,
doing?
that,
You know?
literally, that line right there is literally it. It's
Right?
that little podcast.
And like whether they're close or not, again, I think it boils down to that they think they know you, and they're, whether it's their own personal limiting beliefs or what they think you're capable of. That's what I think is the issue in like building something local, right?
Yeah, it's almost like projection, almost in a way. They're projecting their own thoughts or not self-hatred, but like their own like demise on you, because if they're not able to do it, they think you can't either.
But it also, like, I feel like it's just like the way the world works, like at a certain place in time. Like we all met at a certain time when it made sense. Like when we all had the time to have these ideas. You know what I mean? Like think about it. Like if this happened 2 years later, like who knows if we would have ever met. But like the time when it happened, when like, okay, like we all have free time. It was during COVID. We all have free time to work on a passion. You know, we met David. David does editing, and we want to do a podcast. And it's just like it's hard to find though. It's really hard to find like people who are that committed to each other in an idea. You know what I mean? Like unless like the timing is right too. Like, you know, you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's even to think about it. Do you think we could, what we built over these, if we tried now, started literally right now, you know, like how much harder would it be now?
With the experience that we have now, I feel like we could.
Yeah, I think it would be difficult though, like as for what you were saying, like in terms of time, right?
Yeah.
Like would everybody be able to like right now commit like, oh, you're gonna have to spend so many hours a week, like if you didn't previously have this commitment, like who's to say that would be the case, right? So it's it's interesting, and I think that's like also why like having a group is so important. If it was only like one person doing a podcast on their own, like who's there to kind of pick you up, right? Like
Yeah.
like
We're the luckiest. We're the
yeah, like
luckiest.
it there's, and especially like that's when different personalities are so valid in a group, because it causes that diversity and that kind of like momentum in different ways. Like people are going to motivate the group in different ways that kind of actually pushes us forward towards our goals.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, even to I think it's like I think the biggest thing is like I feel like we built such a bond where we don't want to let each other down. So then that's what kind of really does fuel, because like even if we do, everyone has their bad days, right? Like we can all like attest to that. But like even when we're down, it's like I'm not gonna not do my role, because it's like I'd feel more bad about myself letting you three down than let myself down, kind of in a way. You know what I mean?
And I feel like it was something that kind of started like genuinely, which is what's rare. It's like we I don't think any of us expected this to be like where it is right now at the beginning of all this. It actually started genuinely. We all were looking for like maybe a community feel, building something together. Like we're all entrepreneurs in a certain way, and then it just like boom, this flourished out of all that. You know what I mean?
Like look where we're sitting right now, right? Like
Yeah, bro.
this is our studio. You know, it's like that's a really good
100 fucking weeks, bro.
right?
Yeah.
It's like we have our own studio. Like
Well, yeah, and that I would say like now, like I guess we are probably like experiencing that again, but not like starting a podcast, but now like into the media production
Yeah.
services, right? So like we've all been business oriented, and like we've understood that from about each other for these past number of years. But like I before it was always like, how are we going to make money from the podcast? And like there's different ways to like monetize and gain sponsorships and stuff like that. But then like now we're like building from the ground up like the media production services, right? Like we found that we do have a skill, like a skill that we've been honing in over 3 years, right? And like turning this into like okay, there's other avenues than just the podcast to start generating and like really make this like the network a whole full-time thing in that aspect, right? Like that's the goal, is to all be working on this and our other businesses full-time and not have to worry about like going to a regular job or anything like that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think we are experiencing it again, because now it's like we do have a ton of experience working with each other and understanding how to like balance with each other, but it's just a different like lane, different avenue
Yeah.
to kind of go down.
Yeah.
And I feel like that because now there's like a point of like like monetizing, but like through providing a service, there's like even like such a large pressure, like a pressure that's not even like that wasn't there before. Because before, when you're putting on a show for other people, like it's easy to not like do your best in a sense, just because like you're only held accountable to yourself. Like yes, there's the group, but like you're still held accountable to the group, which is like it's different than being held accountable to someone who's paying. Right? Like when someone's paying you, it's like when your alarm goes off early because you want to go do a workout, versus like your alarm goes off because you have to go into work. Like which one do you really always get up for, right? Because it just shows like it shouldn't be that way, but it just shows that like when you're held accountable to someone that's like out of your circle, there's that greater accountability, and it really pushes you to excel.
Yeah. And we've been able to crush that portion of it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Feels comfortable, to be honest with you. It's like it honestly, it's like it is not an obstacle. It's different, right? It is something like a learning curve, but at the same time, it doesn't feel that as hard as like you would think it would be. Like learning, like adapting into a new like environment, new skill kind of idea. We've, as Dave had said, it's like we've worked 3 years. We've kind of honed in these skills, and now we're able to implement them in a business. But since we became like almost not, I would say, experts of like what we do, and now we get to integrate it to others and apply that to other people's. And like the best part is like with doing the media production services, like the turnaround on when you actually see like that you are able to make somebody's like dreams a reality, right? Like be able to like make them happy, and like when you give them a service where they just smile back at you, it's like it's very rewarding, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's like we're the only ones who does the service the way we do the service. Like we're the only ones who are like have a media production company who are young. We're part of the culture, so we understand what social media picks up on. Like we're the only ones who make sure that your content is authentic to who you are and your target audience, like truly authentic, like not just there to record. Like there's no other service like us. At the end of the day, there's no other service like us, and we're gonna take over this market share, not only here but like fucking everywhere. And it's just one of those things where we're just starting, you know. Again, it feels like I said, like we're celebrating episode 100, but like you said, we're still feeling like, okay, we're just starting this shit now, which is weird. Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
Yo, how do you guys feel about the name change still?
That's
like I think a really
This guy
like,
called it New Vida again today.
I
He
know,
always will,
I
bro.
know.
even like this morning I had literally pulled a shirt out. It's literally the one when we ran the marathon with the new video symbol on the back.
Yeah.
Do you guys miss that name at all? I'm not gonna lie, I do. It's just it was so roll off the tongue, I would say.
I mean, like I naturally just like say it because I feel like it was part of us for like more than we were Uncapped, like 2 years. You know what I mean? Like 2.5 years probably. But like Uncapped makes the most sense, I think, for us right now. But like, yeah, like New Vida is always gonna be fucking
New
you
Vida,
know,
let's talk.
one of those words that's gonna, like, you hear New Vida, your ears perk. You're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like always.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said it last time, like,
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
liked the name, but like, but like, I rock the gear all the time, right? Because like,
Yeah.
that's like, it's part of us, each as individuals and as a whole, right? Like, it's a big chunk of our life, and like, I'm proud to rep my own merch, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I put those shirts on more than I put on my Nike t-shirts,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's a part of history, right? Like,
Yeah.
it might not be history that's important to anyone else, but it's important to me, right? So like,
Yeah.
regardless of whether I was a fan of the name or not, like, I'm still like, it's gonna have a special place always, for sure.
Well, if you even think about it, we've only been on cap since February. Like I think it was 27th. I think we swapped. I think that was the day. I think that was
When we
was the
did the
event. It was the
event,
event,
the
which-
24, 25,
something like that. Like
26.
So
in the
4 or 5
20
months then.
Yeah.
It's been nothing. It's literally been like a fraction
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think now we're on Cap Network.
Yeah.
Even too, sometimes I'm like, someone asks, what's the podcast? I have to literally stop myself and be like, don't say New Vida. It's on Cap Network, you know?
But no, you gotta adapt, bro. You gotta adapt, and that made the most sense for us at that time, and everyone agreed thus far. I think like those who are serious about, like, you know, like how we look, like in the sense of like online reputation, who we are, what we're building. It just makes more sense. 100%.
I agree 100%.
New Vida was the old logo, the old Mexican logo from your PLT printing.
Wait, too, I remember, like, I don't even remember why, like, I thought that name. I was like, I don't even remember where it came from. Like, it was just a random one. I was like, oh, maybe we use this, and like, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is good. Like, it has a good ring to it.
Right?
You know, like, it does roll off the tongue good, but like everybody said, I feel like the new name is more appropriate for the place we're in now, and like more appropriate to like new viewers in the crowd, and it's like a better, like, intuitive, like, podcast name for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to the bathroom, but I have a question for all of you after. You guys can continue.
So yeah, well, I guess while Ricardo's gone, like the production services, like, what do we offer, Coca? Here, let's get the pitch.
So what do we offer? So we're the people that create the content for you. We're the people that you need. So starting off is like usually what we offer is recording hours, right? That's how you build the content. From there, we also offer editing. With editing, we actually make it very specific to you. So we're gonna ask you, like, what do you want it to look like? How do you want to be represented? It does have to represent who you are and like actually represent your brand, right? Because like you could edit anything and make it however you want, but when you make content for yourself, you want it to be able to be separated from everybody else. You want to stand out. And that's what we do. It's like we take our time to literally understand who you are as a person, your brand, like what you're trying to, the message you're actually trying to deliver, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like I could make you look like McDonald's, but guess what? You're not going to stand out from McDonald's.
Yeah.
You're just going to be another McDonald's thing. What we want you to do is to be you.
And I would say there's no limitations either, right? Like, we don't work with just one specific type of person or one specific type of content. We're exploring all sorts of avenues and how we produce content. We're expanding on the amount of equipment that we have as well available too, and working on fine-tuning those systems to make sure that it's the highest possible quality content that gets produced. realistically, it's to be able to take your ideas and bring them to life, and then like be a thoughtless process, right? So that whether it's a podcast or an advertisement for your company, a short stint on whether you're trying to, like you said, relay like a message, whether it's around fitness or like um how a service is done, whatever field it is there. But it's being able to bring that story to life and like highlight those tangible moments, so that you can, at the end of the day, right, like you're still going to be posting the content, so like some people are going to get that fear of posting, but it boils down to like you have it readily available and there is no thought on your end, right? Like you come with your ideas. We have thousands of dollars invested in equipment, so you just kind of have to sit in the positions that we tell you to, or not sit always, but like you just know that like if this is stuff that you are going to end up like giving the green light to, then yeah, like it's there, it's ready to go, right?
I think that's the best part about it too, is like you said, we make your dreams into reality. And I think that's like the best way to put it, because like not everybody knows how to build content. Content's
Mhm.
actually really hard to do. Like I've tried picking up my phone and just like trying to shoot something. You're probably gonna be like, oh, I gotta shoot this again, and you're gonna hit. You're
Yeah.
so hard on yourself, right? But when you have somebody helping you and like actually like almost directing you, right? Like that's why we take our time with everybody and like ask you these real hard questions of like, what do you want out of this? Like, do you want to be portrayed as like a motivator? Do you want someone to trust you? Like all these little, like might seem really small to others,
Yeah.
but it's very big in like our process and our onboarding, and that's why the content is authentic to who you are.
Okay, and I have a question, like on topic, but like different. Like
Hit
if
us.
I feel like as we're like producing these like production services, it kind of gets me thinking like, okay, we put out this content as Uncapped, but like if you were to pay for these production services, like what kind of content would you put out? Like, do you ever like think of that? Like, I don't know, it's something that really always goes in my head, and it's something that it's not that I'm shy in front of camera, but like certain times I feel like uncomfortable. But you see people putting themselves out there and stuff, and it's kind of like I always think like, what kind of content would I put out? So I want to hear your answers if you have
Honestly, I
one.
don't know what I would.
Yeah.
Like I'm so like I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty camera shy. It doesn't seem like it because like I'm just used to these
Yeah.
cameras being in front of us all the time and all the lights.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty desensitized
Yeah.
to it at this point. Like
Mhm.
this microphone here, the camera across from me, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really see it. I just feel like I'm having an open
Yeah.
convo. But like if you were to tell me, hey Jordan, sit in front of this camera and go, I'm gonna freeze up so quick. And I probably I don't produce content. Like if you do look at my profile, I'm like
Mhm.
I'm not a person who does content. Like I'm pretty camera shy, I would say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say like that's kind of where I get stuck a lot. So like I do want to produce like fitness content. Like I've always saw myself in the fitness space, but like I've never really understood or like been able to pick a direction, right? So like the popular players in the space, for example, right now, like someone like Sam Sulek, who has a DJI mic that sits on his cap right here. He doesn't record any of his warm-up sets, but he will record like his heavy compound lifts.
Yeah.
And he just kind of talks through it. But Sam's also, I believe he's studying kinesiology. I might have to fact check that, but he just kind of talks through the maybe the science behind it and then the bro science behind it, right? So the
Mm.
bro science just being like, listen, you can do everything that this book tells you, and you can do this rep range, and you can do this type of weight and like this type of exhaustion. But like I'm living fact that like I train to exhaustion and I overtrain and overload and I do cheat reps and like I have this amazing physique and all of this works, right? And like he goes into like the balance of like what works for you versus what to actually like follow and train on paths. So like that's one avenue. Um Gym content itself, like workouts don't really change,
Mhm.
right? Like the basics and foundations, like setting up, like doing tutorial videos, I don't personally think there's like any value. Like, and that like that might be where I'm torn, because it's like, okay, how do I show my personality? Because I feel like that's where people get attached to fitness content.
Right. Yeah.
But my personality in the gym is also like headphones on, volume at 100.
Right.
I don't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
I'm generally like I time my rests. So like I'm not like up and jumping around or
I
like
feel like
doing
that's a
anything,
personality
right?
though.
it is
Like that
yeah,
archetype that you just painted is a personality.
right.
Like there's
But then
people
it's
out there
like
who
you
love the fucking guy who doesn't talk to nobody,
Mhm.
doesn't fuck. You know what I mean? Like that. That's
Yeah,
it.
that doesn't fuck around type of guy.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's you.
Yeah, and that yeah, like I have my little routine. Like honestly, I think they're goofy as hell, right? But like my deadlift routine, for example, right? Like I'll stand and I'll evaluate the weight before I approach it, and then like when I step into my weight, I step specifically with my right foot. Then I tap my left foot behind me 3 times. Then I bring my
Yeah,
left
okay.
foot.
So you have a
Right?
ritual
Then,
for it.
yeah, like
That's
it's just routine, right?
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, like with all things is like you're going to perform your best when you are in a routine, right?
Mhm.
And so like doing these little steps to get into it, right? It's like almost like preparing my body so it understands like, hey, we're about to lift up some heavy ass weight,
Yeah.
right? And like I look goofy, like I like raise my arm and then I raise my other arm and I lean back, right?
Yeah.
And like I do like a whole thing, right? But and so it's like little things like that, but it's like how to portray that in media, and like do I need to voice over it, do I not need
Mhm.
to voice over it, is it a dark aesthetic like matching a lot of other gym content sort of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
And it's like I guess like it's almost like I'm over analyzing like what is going to be my standout factor with and because like I don't want to necessarily start with like talking content and then switch to non-talking content but or vice versa sort of thing, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just I guess defining my content style before I actually start producing like again that kind of stuff.
And like I think that's a super interesting perspective because your focus in general you'd want to produce gym content, right? But you just portrayed how many different types of gym content there are, right?
Mhm.
Which like proves how like having a production service behind you is so valuable because like it's not just you by yourself in your head trying to come up with these ideas. It's you have a whole team behind you being like, hey, maybe let's try voiceover, let's try this, let's see how it goes. And it just kind of shows how even in a specific niche, like there's so many ways to do something, and it's a matter of being authentic to yourself because the last thing you'd want to do is like produce content that's nothing like you in person, you know, and then people meet you and like, who's this guy, you know?
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of like kind of playing with things and seeing what feels right for you.
What was the question?
Question was like, obviously we provide like production services, but if you were to onboard us as like a service, what kind of content would you want to put out?
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Me, well, I mean, like, for me, it's more like personal content, and like that's one thing that like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm gonna double down on, like, you know, especially with knowing how to use DJIs and stuff. Like we have all the material.
Yeah.
It's just putting yourself out there. For me, it's gonna be trial and error. I don't know what's gonna hit. I don't know what's not gonna hit. I'm just gonna attack it. Have maybe some cringy ass content there that people are like, this is stupid, but like trial and error, and then figure out who I am in regards to like how I display content. Because I feel like we all want to put out content. We all don't want to seem like we're like arrogant or like showing off or like we have it all figured out. And through that trial and error of like balancing the both, we'll figure out who like authentically we are as people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's
Yeah.
my answer.
Now thinking back, yeah, I kind of feel the same way now. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know what my content is. Like I definitely probably would want to go more humor wise, right? Because like I think it does. Everyone loves to laugh, right?
Were you a
Like,
comedian now, buddy? Or what?
No, I wouldn't say comedian, but like even too, it's like I was saying earlier, like I just don't really like. I don't know. I never wanted to be like the spotlight. Like I never cared to be in the light. Like I don't care. Like,
But like putting out content doesn't make you that person to want to be in the spotlight.
but aren't you in the spotlight though? Kind of.
Yeah, but
like,
sure,
what I mean?
but it's like a whole different thing, right? Like you're saying, like you don't want to be that person in the spotlight, but it's like putting out content has nothing really to do with the spotlight because like it's kind of arrogant to think that you're gonna be the spotlight.
Yeah,
because there's so much content.
And like
out
you
there.
never know what's
You know
gonna
what I mean?
inspire people, right?
Mhm.
Like I shared this story during our wins one week, right? But like I was in the gym, I was just doing my deadlifts, right? And a guy walked over to me and was just like, dude, like this is incredible. Like, do you mind if I try this weight? And I was like, yeah, like go for it. Like the bar was already kind of set up and everything. And I was like, you've never lifted this before? And he goes, no, like I'm just thinking like I want to try it. Like I was doing a back workout. And like he hit a PR and like it's ingrained in my mind. And my social awkwardness like I realize it now, but like I didn't really grab his name or anything, or like the dialogue maybe could have been a lot better, but like he turned around, like he hit the weight, which like it was his first time deadlifting 315 pounds, but he turned and looked at me and he was like, you inspired me to do this today, right? And so like like that's one example, like in fitness, right, where it's just like posting fitness content, like you can inspire someone to get off the couch today, go and
Exactly.
do a workout, do some stretches, whatever it is, right? And you never know where that's going to come from, so it's not necessarily about being in the spotlight, but like just providing inspiration.
Sure.
Right? Like one thing that stands out that's going to be coming, and giving them a little shout out, right, is Chelsea and Marisha. Like I think they're going to be
Yeah.
hilarious,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like
they're funny.
Chelsea's a big personality, and just whatever they're gonna do in the fitness fitness space, like I think it's gonna crush, and it's gonna inspire a lot of women. Chelsea's a single mom of 2, right? She's done amazing at rebuilding herself. Marisha's always been a very strong independent woman as well too, and just like a lot of inspirations go come from that sort of thing. And I don't think they're doing an eccentric focus to be like, oh, I need to be
famous,
a Gymshark athlete, and I need to be famous, and this girl and that, right? Like it's like, no, they just want to tell stories.
And those girls are both our friends and stuff. And like the only advice like I have for them is the consistency. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can get so amped out about creating a new page, being this quote unquote influencer, or have this platform, but then it's like
week to week, are you gonna post?
It takes a long time. Takes like 3 months, 6 months, half a year, a full year, a year and a half, 2 years. You may only get 10 likes, 2 comments, 1 comment. Your mom's, oh, I love you. Like, but my point is like, that's all I hope for those people who are starting now is like, yeah, you can do it. 100% you can do it. Just stay consistent. And that's something that we have done in and out. You
I think the most important is like when you don't want to post is when you probably should post. You know what I mean? Like the times when you know it's like you're not feeling it, it's probably when you need to do it the most to keep that consistency.
And
going,
watch,
right?
it's gonna go out like 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now.
April's on the way, and
by then I'll probably be posting at least 2 or 3 like pieces of content a month. Like, and not because like I want to show my face or show off, or no, it's because I know I have to. This is like where shit is going nowadays in regards to like for business opportunities, for like I don't know, like marketing, your reputation, bro. Like we're traveling to the States now, Canada, like all around the world. Like, you know, we have to have that sort of resume online. And like 100%. Mark my words, bro, 100%. I'm gonna post my content. Might be cringy at first, but fuck it.
Don't worry. I'll always like and comment. Good buddy.
There you go.
Even too, I think now thinking about it, it's like it's literally online is your resume. Your like your profiles, like that's the new resume now, right? It's like no one's gonna ask you for a piece of paper. A lot of times they'll just search you up or they'll Google search you, and whatever they find, that's your resume now.
That's it. That's it, bro. I remember me and Jordan Newmore. Shout out Jordan Newmore, bro. We all love Jordan Newmore, bro. That guy, bro, my brother. We started a YouTube channel back in like 2006, 2007.
What was it? Filipino Fresh and something.
It was Filipino Fresh and Spectacular. And we were just Jabba walking and doing these seat walks and whatever. But like, if we stuck to that, bro, we would have been crazy nowadays. You know what I mean? But like, it's just like you said, just like sticking with like whatever that passion is in that day. Could sound stupid, but yeah.
And I think like in general, when you're trying to put out content, you want to find like a niche that you feel like you're the expert in, you know, like even if you're not the biggest expert, it's kind of like a fact, like a topic in your life where you feel the most confident in. And if you feel confident in that topic, then you at least have like a lot of things to say about it and something to teach. And maybe you're not the highest of the high, but because you're higher than other people, so you could teach a lot of people. And I think that's like important when, you know, and that's like important to be authentic to yourself.
I think our first 100 episodes are really a trial like episodes, like first 100. Like everyone who listens to our episode are fans, like we love them to death, but like they haven't heard like it yet. You know what I mean? Like from episode like 100 to 200, like I feel like it's gonna be a lot more like sharpened conversations, more like us being educated on the things that we're talking about. This first 100 episodes was more like, okay, like let's figure it out. I love them. They were amazing. It was a great experience. But like we gotta sharpen the episode as we go on as well, right?
And I think also too, we build ourselves in a way, right? Like as we get, as you said, we become more intelligent with what we're talking about and who we're trying to interview, right? It's like we've been what I love is we are very diverse. Like we've had you can think of anything and everybody, like we've had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not far too much that we haven't touched yet. They'll be coming soon enough, right? But it's like as we sharpening iron, right? It's like we're getting better. We're learning that, guess what? Some person, you're probably not going to talk to them a certain way because you're not going to get the best reaction out of them. Other people, you're going to ask like a little harder questions, and then you have to navigate with their emotions and kind of bounce through that, right?
Yeah. Tough question for you. Favorite episode out of 100 so far?
No, it's actually a great question. I don't honestly, bro. I love the Julius episode. That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll give my boy props all day just because. And the reason I said that one is one, we got tatted on that episode. Like 3 of us right here.
Yeah.
Who knows if you ever get one, but you know, it's up. But yeah,
Should
like,
I go to Julius?
yeah, of course, he's amazing. But yeah, it was like, I remember even the episode how it started. This guy's literally wearing a mask, like Kodak Black. Remember that one where he's just like. And then we're like talking to him. He's kind of like acting kind of funny. And they're like, yo, just take the freaking mask off. He takes it off. And like from there, it was just a very funny episode. Like I was just smiling the whole time. Like it was sick to like, he's probably spent like more than 6 hours with us that day, right? We were just in our hotel room, set everything up. And it was just like, I don't know. It was just fun. Like that day, like that was when we talked about earlier about going to Toronto. Like when we had that trip, like that was actually really, really fun. And it was just so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's a little weird, but I would say Amar, really. And
At the old studio?
Probably at the old studio. Like not the combo episode with Justin, but the single episode with him. Amar, like I'm not super close with him by any means, but Amar really kind of sparked a change in my life. And there's a few things that he's said to me every time we have met where it's just like kind of like instilled and ingrained in me sort of thing, right? Like so like one of the things was like when we were in Colombia, he was actually like my first experience of like Wim Hof. Like I'd never heard of Wim Hof before. He took us through a breathing instruction and I was like, wow, like I loved that. Every day for the rest of that week that we were in Colombia, I was like, yo, can we go do Wim Hof?
That's
Right?
I like that.
And like it's something that just like every now and again pops up and I just like I'm like, oh man, like I need to energize or kind of reset, like I do Wim Hof, right? And like maybe I would have stumbled across Wim Hof on my own. He was a big sensation, the breathing techniques and all that, maybe I wouldn't have, right? Because I hadn't until that point. But just with like how Amar carries himself as a man, how he is very strong on his morals and values, he's very clear with his directions. That's why I feel like that's one of my favorite episodes, right? To me, it's a very easy listen. I feel like I learn a lot from it. And yeah, like that, like of all, like we've had some amazing people on the podcast, but I would say Amar.
Yeah.
That's good you brought that because we even said right after we did like, yo, we're running it back. We're running it. Right?
I mean, it's a hard question because there's so many people. Like I can count like in my like 10 fingers
easily.
Here. People we want it back and we had a great time with. Me, I would say was Nima Naz because I feel like that was like not only was it hilarious, like that's when like I felt like okay, fuck, like kind of like starstruck. Like we're about to interview someone who at that time during COVID and right now too is like famous. Like everyone knows them. Everyone knows them.
He's
like
looking good too. Eh?
Yeah, he's looking
amazing. He's looking amazing. Yeah. Oh yeah, shout out Nima Naz, bro. That guy looks like fucking Ronaldo.
He plays soccer like it too.
Yeah, literally though. I love that guy. But my point is like he like him coming on our platform and all the messages I got after, like, no way, you got him on the platform, like you got him, like that made me like really feel like we're doing something right. And the fact that I feel like we actually had a great conversation with him.
Oh yeah.
Like being so early in the podcast and like so early with like the skill of talking to people. I feel like you and I danced that really good early on. So that's why that's probably one of my favorite episodes because like I feel like it really like shift the mindset and like we can do whatever the fuck we want. You know what I mean?
Probably laughed one of the most on that.
Oh, that was hilarious, bro. When he was talking about like when he was doing comedy at the strip club or whatever.
Or no, it was like a nudist something where people were like
people were laughing.
People were having sex in
just like the Jergens bottle.
Yes.
It fell and it just went all over. I forgot. That is actually so true.
What about you, Claude?
I would say in general, I like the episodes that are less like interview style and more, and more just like talking about concepts and like perspectives and motives and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like a recent one that I could think of was David's David.
Oh yeah, Castillo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Castillo was a
and
legend.
I feel
Yeah.
like his was really good in the sense where, like, obviously you talked about like his life and his journey and all these things, but I feel like you talked a lot about like David Goggins and all these things, and like you didn't have to know you guys or you didn't have to know David to be interested in that.
Mhm.
And I like really enjoyed that just because I felt like at the end of it, it was just like very motivational and like it kind of gave that story of like obviously he talked about like his family and all that kind of stuff. So it's relatable, you know,
Yeah.
everybody has a family they could relate to.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like in general I like those that are just like less interview style and more just kind of like conceptual and talking about like goals and how do you achieve them and that kind of stuff.
Isn't he the longest episode still? Technically.
Yeah, we got
That's out.
unreleased one.
Well,
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah.
out. That's an unreleased one that didn't, but like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like on paper, he's the longest episode
That
we've
one
shot.
cheesed me. You know, if you were watching this, you know who you are. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I'm pretty sure his is the longest one.
Yeah.
And like I even at the end of it, we're talking about like what dolphins at one point about their like like their brains. And we're
Everything,
talking about
everything. Yeah.
monkeys. Like it was kind of wild how that.
Who's
like,
someone you want like from episode 100 to 200? Like who's someone you want in the next 100 episodes? Someone you want to see on that you know we can get on.
I don't know.
I got one. I want Shaden Sharp. Yo, if you're watching, buddy, come on. London local too, right? Like that's the only reason I kind of want because this is an NBA star and like he's from London. Right? Like I know like a
Facts.
lot of kids that actually grew up with him and like actually know him. So
Yeah.
it'd be kind of cool to actually talk to because he's younger than us too, which is another point, right? So it's like you're in the NBA, you're so young. It's like and you grew up where we grew up, so it's kind of I want to pick his brain. I want to know like
Yeah.
what's it like to be in that because that's a
That'd
high
be
pressure.
dope.
That's a high pressure like environment to
He'll
be
be
in.
on.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, he will for
Yeah.
sure.
I think an interesting one that comes to mind is Dale Hunter, owner of the London Knights.
Oh, that'd be sick.
So Dale was a professional in the NHL. He played during some really gritty times. He has owned and coached and developed the London Knights program to be the best OHL program.
Wow.
So many of his athletes get onto the secondary level and into the NHL. He had a stint where he was coaching in the NHL as well too. He actually stepped down to come back to London because he just enjoyed the market here and
That's
what he
sick.
built so much more. And I believe like we do have the network to be able to get in at least contact and maybe a short interview with him.
Yeah.
I think that would be a very interesting one.
Yeah. We'll do that, bro. 100%.
yeah, no, that's sick.
What about you, Claude?
Nothing or no one in particular. I would just say like in general more like female business owners, entrepreneurs, because like I feel like it's more rare, you know, and I feel like females in general are usually more reserved to tell their story, and like a lot of females like want to hear that, you know, so just kind of having that.
No one comes top to mind. No one.
No one top to mind, but just in general having that like different side of things.
Okay.
You, big dog?
I think Papa David or Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson would be fucking sick.
100%.
Mhm.
Jordan Peterson or Papa David. April Hutchinson, we just had her in the podcast last week. She was on Tammy Peterson's podcast, who's Jordan Peterson's wife.
Mm.
So there's a direct connection to the family. We need Jordan Peterson or Papa David.
We'll see Pat next week?
Yeah, hopefully we get Pat next week. But like
Mm.
Jordan Peterson, I feel like would be such a like crazy conversation. Like, bro, I would want like 2 weeks to prep for that.
100%.
I'll try to get like fucking Advils or something.
No,
and just like zone in on questions that have to do with like life and like what I'm really thinking about. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Jordan Peterson would be like my ideal conversation, and like there's no reason why next 100 episodes he's not going to be in one of them.
No, man,
You know what I
even
mean?
too, he's so well articulated, right?
Bro,
It's
that
like,
guy's
it would,
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'd be nervous to be honest with
No, you have to be like,
Like,
come
I'd be-
correct. You have
yeah,
to
like,
come.
I'd
Like
be
me and you would
super-
have to go to Western Weldon Library
yeah,
and
for like
do
a
a couple
while. Like,
notes.
that's
Like
what I'm saying. Like,
study
I'd
a
be
bit.
honestly very nervous to interview.
Yeah.
I think it'd
it's
be
like,
interesting with him, just like how he would put you guys in your place.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and
what
I don't mean that in a rude way.
No,
No,
but I
yeah,
get that because
100%,
like even the interview he had with George Janko, like
Yeah.
George Janko was acting too cocky that he got put in his place. I feel like I would take the back seat and not challenge him
No, that's what I'm
in-
saying.
in the way that George did.
Mm.
Like
But it's still good to challenge him for like
No, challenge
not
him-
for the sake of conversation, but to challenge him on your beliefs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But like
But I mean, like
Yeah.
challenge him in a way where like it makes sense to like go against what he's saying. But I feel like George just was challenging him like to try to get clips, like
Yeah.
like outside of like the realm of what was being spoken about. You know what I mean?
And that's why I said like I'd be nervous because like my nerves would actually come from more trying to be very reserved and not actually get like just
Yeah.
smoked out by him. By like, you say something like, and he's like, well, if you think this,
Be like, you're the weak
And I'm-
boy in
and
the
I'm
society
like-
today.
I'm like, all right, Jordan, like, you know, we share a name. We share a name. Like, calm down, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, I think, yeah, no, honestly, I would be very, intimidated in a way, because it's like you're speaking with somebody who's so well, like, articulated, very intelligent man who's like, we're like,
Educated in all topics.
everything, and he's just like, he's, I don't know, like, as I said, like, I'd be like, all right, well, I probably won't. I'd be very reserved and probably like try to hold my tongue quite a bit, unless like I'm actually 100% positive of what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll have him one day. That's
Only
it.
100 episodes away, you know.
That's it, baby. That's it. 100 episodes away. How long are we running for? Fuck, like
I think we're over an hour for sure. I can't see the exact number, but we're over an hour for
No,
sure.
it's good.
yeah, we
like,
could probably
it's-
wrap it up here,
it
guys.
was you know, guys, I fucking love you guys. I'll say this like in front of everyone. Like, I fucking
Yeah.
love you guys. I love what we built. Fuck, bro, this journey we're on, it's not even close to being over. I don't know. I'm excited to do this with you guys and continually building with you guys. Happy like we found each other, and let's keep it going.
That's it, yo. Same shit. Love you guys. Love all of you guys like so much. Like, couldn't imagine doing this without you guys. I'm sure there's times where like all of us have probably thought like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, this is a waste of money. Our parents probably talk to each of us and be like, oh yeah, you're gonna go record an episode? Like, how much money you made yet? But like, the point is like I genuinely love you guys. I love everyone, the audience. Like, what, like maybe 15 of you?
Well, if it wasn't for them.
my point is though is like, this is something that's like, I think very important that we have this in the archives. You know what I mean? That we all speak our honesty and our truth, like in this time that we're at right now. And I think it's very valuable that like every year we see ourselves grow. Cause like, fuck, like we didn't do this to be famous and make a shit ton of money. We did this because we genuinely wanted to, like all of us, to be part of a group who put out valuable content, right? So if that's all we do, then fuck, that's all. Like I'm happy about that. But obviously, it's not all.
Obviously.
Yeah, no, it feels good to be part of a community and to build something. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. Like, they have their full-time job, which usually is unfulfilling, just pays the bills. So it feels good to be part of like a creative group of entrepreneurs trying to push and make money and create and do all these things. And it's a very rare group to be a part of, and also to have it come like so long, like it's been in the works for so long, and to see where we are now, it kind of gives us that like encouragement to keep going, and I feel proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm on the same page, guys. Honestly, I know and can fully acknowledge I'm not always the easiest person to deal with or be around. I don't always portray my message in the most proper of ways, and you guys deal with it, plain and simple, and that comes through growth, love, the vision, the goals that we all set together, and it doesn't work if that doesn't come together, sort of thing. So yeah, like I'm more than like, I appreciate you guys all more than ever, and the support and what this podcast has provided. And sometimes it is frustrating as fuck, but like we get through it. We get through it, and that's all that matters.
Even too, like I you know what, we've said it to you, bro. You are a fucking powerhouse of the team. Like you do so much, and like a lot of people
hop off, bud. Hop
no,
off.
it's not it's just like a lot of times, bro, people don't see it, right? Like, you're behind it a lot of the time. Like, you're behind the camera, like, bro, you fucking this don't work without you. So
yeah,
you know,
And vice versa, like with you guys too. It doesn't work if this team's not together.
That's it. And even all you guys, for all you guys who watch episode 100 thus far, I promise you, episode 200, the background's gonna be stupid. The boats in the water, I'm telling you, but that's a fucking guarantee right here. Yo, episode 200, that's what, like maybe like 2 years from now?
yeah, technically, yeah.
Fuck, like
We'll have into a new studio coming up soon. Watch out.
that's it. You guys have seen nothing yet, bro. I promise you guys that. Thank you guys for watching thus far, and we love you guys to death, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. That's it. Episode 100 concluded. Peace.